This movie is like a milkshake at a hot dog shop. Regardless of how you feel about hot dogs, maybe you're one of those people who get the hamburger at the hot dog shop, but we all get the milkshake, because the milkshake's always the best thing there. It's never like the best milkshake ever, but it's always a good one to go with. So let's talk about it. The movie, not milkshakes. We could talk about milkshakes later, but now we talk about the movie. So at the point that this movie was made, Scooby-Doo was, and still is, entirely owned by Warner Brothers, and now that they're done making their unhinged made-for-TV specials, they work to establish a new status quo for the Scooby Gang, and that's exactly what this movie is. This movie is more in the style of the What's New Scooby-Doo TV show, so it ditched the darker, moodier atmosphere of previous direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies, such as Zombie Island or Witch's Ghost. In establishing a new status quo for these characters, we have a lot more of a traditional Scooby-Doo formula while incorporating elements from Hanna-Barbera's last Scooby-Doo movies into the new status quo, such as the Hex Girls. The film picks up when the Scooby Gang continues their adventures around the world by stopping at Sydney, Australia for some sightseeing, and I love when the Scooby Gang get to hang out and be friends, and we just see them have so much fun before the dookie hits the fan. And with it being Scooby-Doo, of course the dookie had already hit the fan before they even arrived. They find themselves heading to a vampire rock music festival where musicians are disappearing, kidnapped by the vampires of local legend.
Yowie Yahoo! An ancient Australian vampire.
What's really cool about this movie is that they actually introduce enough suspects with enough motivation to make you really try and guess who the culprit is and who's behind the kidnapping, and it may not be as obvious as you think. I watched this movie with my wife and we were both wrong as to who the culprit really is. And this movie was really made for the people who enjoy the music section of The Witch's Ghost. Not only do the Hex Girls return, but we also get some good old-fashioned horror glam rock, and some of it is definitely played for laughs, but the movie's made for younger demographics, so you have to keep that in mind. It's also a whole lot of fun because they throw in so many subtle rock references to like David Bowie or the Misfits, and for those of you who know, it's going to be fun to spot that. We also get to see the Scooby Gang don their own glam rock apparel and enter the contest, and just listen to Scooby's double kick drum. And speaking of music, some of the music they use is like perfect early 2000s pop punk, similar to what they do in the What's New Scooby-Doo series. And one song in particular slaps and goes so hard, but it's not listed in the credits. Check this out. That song is the real mystery of the movie. Until I googled it, and I found that someone had uploaded the entire original song up to YouTube. Not all heroes wear capes. Some other highlights of this film include, but are not limited to, the fact that they brought some of the classic voice talent to reprise the roles of Shaggy, Daphne, and Velma. Frank Welker does return as the voice of Fred, but is also one of his first major goes as the voice of Scooby-Doo. Using Comic Sans in the opening title sequence makes this one of my favorite Scooby-Doo movies we've watched so far. They also use some old school sound effects and remixed music from the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You show, so it brings back the feeling of classic Scooby-Doo. Now if you're looking for the part of the review where I just say a whole bunch of negative things because maybe this movie doesn't stack up against some of the other movies that we've talked about, you're going to be disappointed because it doesn't exist here. Sure, the story may not have been life-changing for the characters in the way that Zombie Island or Alien Invasion may have been, and sure, the chase song isn't the most exciting, but that does not stop the movie from being a fun watch. I'd also say that if you like the franchise, vampires, music performances, then you'd have a really fun time with this movie. But that's all I have for this one. If you've seen it before, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to chit-chat about it. Also, be sure to subscribe as we go through every single animated Scooby-Doo movie of all time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.